Like I can set it up and speak English and it'll translate.
Grab your seat, please. Oh, that was.
Oh, that scared him.
That was intimidating.
You guys suck.
I was right in front of her for that.
She breathed in and.
Bill, Beth, Ian. Now you're gonna call my name.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Get him, man.
All right, so we've got Candyce Edelen, and nobody ever says her name right, but the British apparently really butcher it. They just say Candyce, but she doesn't correct them because she doesn't like because she's Candyce with a Y. In case you didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I don't have my name up there. Yep. I'm over there.
Oh, there you go.
In the corner.
Now it's just gonna mess it up because that's gonna be like, so, anyhow, she is with Propel Growth, and I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jenny. It's been a while. It's like some of you guys I know and have known for a long time, and some of you I've never met. So it's really cool to see. So I'm Candyce Edelen with Propel Growth. With my husband Phil is also my business partner. And during COVID, we made a massive pivot with our business. I like to say I took permission to completely change our business from what we were doing when I presented back in 2018. So many of you have seen it, or some of you have seen it, because we've presented online last year. But my target audience is companies that are selling either B2C or coaches selling, I'm sorry, B2B, or coaches selling B2C who have a deal size that's north of $5,000. I find that outbound sales and prospecting doesn't really work if you have a really small deal size. So this is all about outbound selling. I'm using LinkedIn to do it. And I've got some students in the room. Jenny and Carl and Dane have all taken my course. So thanks for doing that, you guys. So I am launching our 4th accelerator on July 12th, and I'm going to be talking about that today and what it is. You're welcome to ask me questions more about our business. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but what we do is LinkedIn training for social sales, really. It's about how to prospect and find people and get meetings on LinkedIn. So the accelerator is life coaching, and I'll explain more about that. The ask is, I'm very numbers oriented, and I present a lot of numbers here, and I talk about it a lot. Does that make you excited and thinking, wow, this is really interesting, or does it make you glaze over? And then I'm trying to present, I've been asked to present at the end of the month, where I'm being asked to pitch both Prospecting Mastery, which is what used to be called the master class, and the accelerator, which are very different price points, but very similar programs. One's live, one's on demand. And I want to get your feedback on how to pitch both without confusing people. And then suggestions on where I can get books to speak, because that's my main lead generation tool. Okay, so with no further ado, I'm going to be talking about how to turn LinkedIn connections into meaningful conversations. Traditional prospecting approaches are getting harder and harder. So average email open rates last year was 20% across all industries, different, in different industries, sometimes quite a bit lower. And the click-through rate last year was 1.7%. Now, a click is not a purchase. A click is not a meeting. A click is just a click. So don't confuse those, but it's still a very low response rate. And less than 2% of cold calls in 2019 resulted in a conversation. That has gotten worse since COVID, because it's harder to reach people. And spam calls, I don't know about you, I don't even answer my cell phone anymore. Who does? Does anybody answer your cell phone if you have an unknown, don't recognize your caller? You do. Wow, I'm calling you then. No. But cold calls is a really hard way to make a living at any rate. So I hate cold calling. So I transitioned our business in 2018 to stop targeting financial services and target the commercial real estate industry. I didn't have a list. I didn't have any inbound referrals because nobody knew who I was in that industry. And I needed to find a new way to prospect for leads. So I turned to LinkedIn, And after some experimentation, I landed on a methodology that allowed me to connect with people in my target audience. And I got 500 new connections over 6 months. More importantly, these are the numbers to pay attention to. 355 of those people engaged with me over direct messages. They replied. They didn't just get my spam and block me and me not know it, right? And 125 of them booked appointments with me. Okay, here's the glaze over point. All right, so that's 76% of the people I reached out to connected with me, 71% of my connections engaged, and 35% booked an appointment. My numbers have gotten a lot better since then. So that was 2018. I am now booking appointments with 71% of the people that I invite. See, if you think about cold calling and you only get 2% of the people to answer the freaking phone, that's not getting a meeting with them. That's just getting them to pick up the phone. Compared to that, I mean, it's just insane, right? So people don't believe me, but I have been successful in teaching other people how to do this. Quite a few other people, 156 so far have gone through the training. And the reason is that buyers do want to book a meeting with you if you can bring value to the conversation. And that's the problem, is a lot of sellers don't bring value. What I find is that people will book a meeting with you if they feel like they can get insights and learn something from you. They don't need you to boil the ocean for them. They don't need you to solve all their problems. But if you can share some interesting tidbit or nugget based on what you found on their profile that they're interested in, not what you're interested in selling, they will take a meeting. They also like to share their own insights. So booking a dialogue, a conversation, is how I got 125 meetings, okay? The key to success with it is hyper-personalized. You can't just send a one-to-many message. Bots on LinkedIn are just spam. They don't get results. They're just annoying people. And so is pitch slapping, sending the same pitch to each person. Don't pitch slap them. Find a way to start a conversation. And you can't do that without one-to-one. Am I out of time?
You're at 5, so you got another minute.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So when you're trying to approach somebody on LinkedIn or anywhere, really, think about this picture. If you try to chase that cat, what's going to happen? Customers do that too. Okay. All right, the framework for success on LinkedIn is first to establish your credibility, that's your profile, and then build your visibility. That's the kind of things that you're posting and engaging with, commenting on, and then building relationships. This is the framework I teach in our training, and we have 2 approaches for it. One is Prospecting Mastery. This is our on-demand course. You sign up anytime, and you can go through it. It takes, you get 6 months access. It's about 5 hours of content, so it's not overwhelming. And each session is just a nugget of 20 minutes or less, except the last sessions, it's a lot of Q&A from the live workshops. But so that's Prospecting Mastery. And then the Accelerator is what we're launching on the 12th. This is a 12-week live coaching. So we get on the call once a week on Zoom, and I do live coaching. I also provide one-on-ones with everybody. They get a 90-day action plan to help them with KPIs. And the goal is to really help you fill your pipeline with qualified opportunities. Now, the results that we're getting in the Accelerator are pretty interesting. After the first 90 days, this is our last group that just ended at the beginning of April. The group of 10 got 424 connections, invited 188 people to meet, completed 88 of those meetings, 108 booked. There were some that weren't completed before the Accelerator ended, and they got 55 opportunities. Now, most of their deal size or sales cycles are, thank you, are longer than 6 months or 3 months. So we closed 12 deals in that, but there's other deals that will close. There's your conversion ratios. 49% connection acceptance ratio, 44% invited to meet. We don't invite everybody we connect with. 47% booked meeting ratio, and 54% of those meetings converted into qualified pipeline deals. Okay, if you invite 100 people to meet, you'll get 29 qualified opportunities based on those numbers. Okay, it's working for a lot of different industries. I will bring the slide up later. And this is my contact information. And then I'll go back to my ask.
Okay, I'd start doing I'm getting out of my chair. Wrap it up. So, thank you. All right, so back to the ask, who has feedback for Candice?
That was great, Candice. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
You nailed it. You gave us, all of us, something that we all need and want. We want higher conversions. We want more relevance. We want accurate feedback and content to our audience. And we don't want to waste time. And you did that very well in 6 or 7 minutes, whatever it was. So thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have a question. So you said it just as you were going in, and I was like, that's interesting, because you said where you can get booked to speak because that's your best route. So why are you not using your own method?
Awesome question. I am using my own method, and a lot of the people that have come through the course have come from me engaging with them on LinkedIn. I engage all the time on LinkedIn, but my numbers don't support that. So that 5K, our accelerator is 4,600. Our masterclass is 497. That model of a business model does not support outbound prospecting as the exclusive way to go get leads, because I need more volume coming in.
Okay, so now I'm the pricing person, and mentally at 4,600, we basically say 5,000. So why not just bump it up to 5,000 and then use your own, like now you're supported because you're at the 5,000.
I still do it. I do outbound hunting every single day. Okay. That's why I'm still converting 71% into meetings. And they do tend to dive into the accelerator if the timing is right for them.
So then where you can get booked to speak, check out PitchDB.
PitchDB?
It's another like scraping software that you can find the podcasts events. They don't do like the online symposiums because that's just too hard for their software to find. But you can filter based on like what podcasts would be best for you. So like entrepreneurial podcasts or coaching podcasts.
Thank you.
All right, Ian, or Dane, sorry.
I'll let James go first because his hand was up, if he still has. James Keppel.
I do. Your question about did you get too heavy on the numbers? I think you walked it very well. The only suggestions I'd make would be, I have a rule of threes that I always use, which is never put more than 3 pieces of information on a slide. And excuse me, try and focus on outcomes a little bit more. So there was one slide you had that I think there were 4 points on there, and I would just question whether number 2 and 3 were really necessary, or was it 1 and 4? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, are 1 and 4 the important ones, and maybe just drop 2 and 3 or make them smaller or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now.
All right. Great abbreviated presentation, Candice. You know, I've seen your 30-minute presentation, and getting that down to 6 is always a challenge, but you did fantastic. You dropped your background story, which I think is great. You just barely touched on what you did before this, because I think your core message in your experience is that you went to something completely new that you didn't have the network already built for, and you started reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and it worked. Like what you were doing beforehand, was it real estate?
I was financial, and I went to real estate. Yeah.
Yeah, where that isn't relevant to your presentation at all. Agree with James on the numbers. I think it went well doing those numbers and then having the percentages. That was great. And then your ask on how to present the accelerator and the mastery course simultaneously. You did it great here. For the mastery class, that's the $500.
Yeah, $497.
If you could talk about who would want that. And so that piece is education, where you're focused on learning something about prospecting on LinkedIn, whereas your accelerator is focused on outcomes, focused on actually getting meetings, and education doesn't lead to behavioral change like coaching does. So I think that's one way that you can talk about the two of them simultaneously.
Yes, agreed. Kurt.
Yeah, I'm going to just tag on a little bit there with Dane. What I didn't see really was enough differentiation between the online course and the other thing. And I like the way you said it there. It's like, it's education, coaching, and outcomes. Like, we're going to kind of take you through this whole thing. It's not just, here's this class you can watch. So I like the way that you phrase that.
So along those lines, what I've been making this mistake when I'm taking the meetings that I'm booking on LinkedIn and having these conversations. The accelerator only opens twice a year. So if I'm not open, then I'll try to sell Prospecting Mastery. If I oversell the accelerator, they don't want to take Prospecting Mastery because they think that it's not going to work for them. And what I do is the accelerator includes Prospecting Mastery. So if they sign up for Prospecting Mastery in March, I'm going to credit it back against the accelerator when they sign up for that in July. Any tips or ideas for how to not make them not want to take this? Because it's like, I almost like make this look like it won't work when I pitch this, because the whole point is the group coaching, and that one-to-one really makes a difference in their results. But I mean, Dane and Carl and Jenny, you've all taken this. I think there's still value here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This part is the knowledge, and the coaching is always the accountability.
Right. Yeah. To me, that's the distinction.
And you can learn it. And if you're totally self-motivated, maybe you can turn that into something without the accelerator. If you're not self-motivated and you can't figure out.
Well, it's all about customizing your particular situation.
Yeah.
I think,
right. And
yeah. And I think too, like, I have a very similar model to what you have, Candice.
Yeah.
And well, other than mine's live, but mine is usually, this is the intro, this is the education piece that you need to know before you start the next step. So whether you do the expensive one or not, this is where you're going to start. So if you want to get started now, because the next one doesn't start for another 5 months, start here, you can add it to your account, and then you can decide if you want to join the coaching program.
Okay.
What would you expect your revenue, total revenue from product 1 versus product 2 to be?
80%.
This is where your money is?
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, Phil, maybe 70 to 80%.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we need this to make our year.
so about the numbers, okay, I don't think you overdid it, but the percentages, you didn't say what the denominator was. And so it was kind of hard to follow, because sometimes in a pipeline, people will have those percentages be the percentage of the success from the previous step. And sometimes it's the percentage all the way back to the original number.
Right.
And so honestly, I would tend to do the percentages in just a graphical way rather than a number, to get a sense for the size.
Like put it in a funnel?
Yeah, maybe. Funnels maybe are a little bit overused these days, but you know, that sort of thing that can help people to get a gut feel for the size, because the exact number isn't important.
So maybe what you're saying is, like, it could be the percentage, like she had 46%, and it could be of this many invitations.
Yeah.
Just so that you have the denominators.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, the other thing that I was pondering is, you're going to get requests as you get more active and talk to more people to have this apply to other situations you did not describe. One is, so I know nothing about LinkedIn. I'm way far back on that curve. Can I maybe use this to apply it to the sales process I already have? Okay, and that's just, the answer is pure one-on-one coaching for customized thing. Another one is, can you do this for my entire team? That'll probably be a customized engagement, but taking everybody through the content that you already have. So there's going to be other situations, and all you need to do is to have an answer for those in the background. And the answer may be, let's talk. Sounds like you need something custom. There may be a number of questions about, is LinkedIn the answer for everybody? Because personally, I hate LinkedIn. So, I like
right,
this
Carl,
other
I'm
thing.
gonna wrap you
So,
up.
sorry.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else who wants to connect?
That's
I just
why
looked
she
at the
has
clock, sorry. Anybody else who wants to ask questions or give feedback, connect with Candice after this, but thank you, Candice, for being here.
If anybody wants free LinkedIn tips, I have a newsletter, and just come and get me. There's a really handy QR code on the back of this to go subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, so who has a win, who has a resource that we need to know about, or who needs help this week? I'm on a really fabulous vacation.
I'm getting married on Saturday.
Does that mean you need help?
Exactly.
You don't want to go there.
I got a 50th anniversary coming up.
Wow. There's your help. There's your help.
Who knows us?
It's going to cost you though.
Anybody else? A win, a resource?
Well, when I had was at a women's Women in Wine, sold out 2 weeks before the event, waiting list, so, and it turned out great. So
I just need a bigger place.
Yeah.
You need help finding a bigger place.
Oh no, it's a big enough place. It's like 5 acres, so it's not a problem with space. No.
We had so many community announcements at the beginning. Gosh, normally this is the place where everybody speaks up. James?
I'd like to offer a resource. I love meeting with people, and I give a 60-minute complimentary, which is worth anywhere from $99 to $250. And I'm just honing my skills in this area. So
Remind me what you do.
I'm an executive coach. I'm also a DISC language specialist.
A what?
DISC language specialist.
What's that mean?
If you want to put that on the app, the main app, no one can see it.
Why do you say a DISC language specialist?
Well, it's going to be part of my presentation, but I've immigrated 4 times between Africa and America, and I found DISC to be the most powerful tool to connect with anybody in under 10 seconds, anywhere in the world. I will do that in my presentation.
Before you gotta come back, he's dangling the bait so that you come back. Yes, exactly. Great. Well, nobody else has a win, a resource, or needs help, then we are done for today. Thank you all for coming. I hope to see you again next week. Just a reminder, we're not meeting on Wednesday, July 6th. So you get an extended time.